don't tell me that that's just what it is. No, that's you. You did that.
Yeah.
You stopped working out. You stopped trying to like hold on. The bullshit stuff that just doesn't frickin' serve me anymore. Because I think it serves me because it's easier. You know what really just pisses me off?
When you don't talk loud enough into the mic?
Oh. You know what just pisses me off? Really trips my trig? Is when you have something so top of the bar and then that's your new baseline.
Talking about
the Bloody Mary is good. But when you've had the best, it's like, I'm like that with coffee too. I know how good it can taste. So then if I go to a coffee place and it's not what I'm used to having, that's an insight to me in all of the things though. If I know this situation or whatever it is could be better, it bothers me that I don't have that. It's like, oh, this is a waste of a coffee. Or like this. It's still very good, but just like, ooh.
Do you want to know what trips my trigger?
What?
How dramatic you are.
Truth.
You do
Have a little spot on my face?
deal with that. No, looks fine.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just like making you glow.
Oh, thank you. I'll never hear that again in my life.
That's the last time.
What do you mean I do deal with that?
Like you...
Like that's something I get annoyed by?
Kind of, yeah. Like you're not just saying that to say that.
Yeah.
You are like, I don't know. Like the coffee thing is just insane with you.
Oh, I know that this is an annoying trait about me. I think I do that with those kinds of things where I don't do it often. Like I don't go get coffee often. We don't go out to eat often. So if it's subpar, it bothers me. It's like, oh, I'm wasting the bad food time. I'm wasting the money or I'm wasting the whatever. When it's like, oh, it could be better though.
Coffee specifically too, it seems like we have such a specific taste of it that most places don't go with that. Like it's like if you like really dark coffee or like, you know, I don't know, espresso I feel like is more based on the taste of just like what they're using, but if you like really dark coffee, like it's hard to find.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Most people just don't do dark roast really.
No.
With things.
No. Or just like even when they brew it, the coffee's so weak.
Yeah.
Most places do it so weak. So we don't really go get coffee that much because it's like it never ends up being as good as we like it.
But then when you do find a spot, it's like, oh my gosh, cool.
Yeah, it is.
But then I just assume like there's no way no one else likes this.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Because if we like it, it's like, I don't know. Espresso, I guess most people, like how many people are just getting straight espresso? Like maybe in their other lattes that taste good or whatever. But
yeah, it's all mixed with majority like milk or whatever.
Yeah.
It's 16 squirts of caramel.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Not my jam.
Not my jam.
Not my jam. Should we start with our first segment?
Yeah. Do you have one?
I do.
I think you had like 14 from us. Yeah.
Well, I think we should do like the asshole or not segment, and then we also should do like a positive spin on something. Like something that we really like or we didn't expect. Like what I have on here is a part of my asshole or not, but because I also was like, you liked it, I always like it. I want to bring up the positive of it sucks for everybody else, but I love it for me.
Yeah. Okay.
So the asshole or not is when we were flying back from Phoenix. We had an early flight, and make note that it was an early flight because I think that also plays into the debate if it was bad or not. And we needed to eat because we knew we weren't going to eat before we had to like leave and teach and whatever. So it's 9 a.m. probably. And the only food in the food court that wasn't a super crazy line was Panda Express. And we had just enough time to walk down the terminal, stand in line quick, grab our food, and go back. And we were boarding. So we had no time to eat it. So we are on the plane sitting next to a very clean looking old man who like has his hand sanitizer, has his little things all laid out, doesn't have any extra stuff around him, and has just like a tiny little protein cookie that he is very neatly eating. And then we whip out Panda Express.
Yeah.
Asshole or not for doing that.
Yeah, I go back and forth with the eating on the plane thing. I think general consensus is like, don't have stuff that smells.
Yeah.
But
that's what I say. Also at 9 a.m. That's not a smell you're expecting to have in the morning.
No. But being the one eating the panda, I gotta say, there was nothing better.
It was so good.
Yeah.
It was so good. If I can, I will save my food to wait to eat it on the plane.
It's weird, huh?
It's weird, but that's what I'm saying. Like that's my jam. Like that's my positive of this is be able to sit there for just hours and not have to quickly rush. Also sitting at the gate seat trying to eat is so annoying. Then you can have a podcast on or have the thing that you're watching and then you get to eat.
Well, it is like, what else are you going to do on the plane anyways?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what was
it's
cool.
Like a movie.
Like we each had a movie on or something on and was eating, I don't know, lunch or our panda. It's like you're just having a meal watching a movie on a plane. It's like there's kind of nothing better. I think before that I would have said for sure an asshole.
Yeah.
Like don't bring a full freaking meal onto the plane and eat it. But with us being kind of pressed there and having to make the decision, I was like, I don't really like that we're doing this. But then honestly, there was nothing better.
I know.
There's nothing better. I've totally flipped my mind on whether that's shitty or not. I think it's awesome. And when I see people do it like from here on out, I'm going to be like, yeah,
you're living.
You're having the best time. I don't even care if it smells like shit.
Yeah.
This is the best.
I do think there are certain things where it's like, okay, you're just pushing it now. Like, eat, but you don't need to eat that. Like, that in a large room smells bad. Panda could kind of, like, I don't know. I think it smells good.
It's a strong smell. I think that's more the thing. It's like, it's just the strong smelling stuff. It's not that it smells good or bad. It's just, you're locked in there.
What's going to spread?
Yeah. I mean, we're kind of notorious for doing this, though. Remember in California how many times we'd go to the movie theater in the mall, go get food from the food court and sneak it in, and it's like we're eating like Mongolian food
in the movie theater.
In the movie, and it's just like you open that styrofoam fucking tray and there's just this steam coming up off and we would sit in the front, like third row from the front, so everybody behind us just sees this steam piling up through, probably blocking their sight of the movie. It's like, as much as we go like, don't do this, don't do that, like we eat in places we should not be eating most of the time.
Which I don't really have a problem with that with people in the movie. Like, I don't care about the smell. I feel like it's such a large room, you can't really tell. I think the whole thing is just like, oh, it's not good to do because you're not, like, you're bringing other people's food into a different business. But
that, I mean,
don't charge $20 for popcorn.
Yeah, we all do. Even if it's not that, people are sneaking their own candy and that sort of shit anyways. Plus, in our defense, there's movie theaters that literally do this now, where you order dinner during the movie. Yeah. It's like, so I don't think that's that crazy. another point, we're really defending ourselves here. Another point for the on the plane, it's technically fine to do. You don't have to sneak it onto the plane.
There's no rules, yeah.
There's no rules against it.
It's just the moral rules. Like,
it's just the
society rules.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. After doing it, I'm full in.
I'm more, weirdly enough, I'm more self-conscious about how I look on an airplane. I think you so quickly just look sloppy. I don't know what it is, but everybody just like sitting in the seats. All my stuff is everywhere. I have a coat, so then it's just like piling on. I just feel sloppy. And then you see some people that are like in nicer clothes or in a suit or whatever. That makes me feel more self-conscious of like, I'm sitting next to this person in a suit or this guy that was like so clean and put together. And I'm in sweatpants.
Yeah. You know, I wonder too, like for
then
people.
Then the food is just like adding on top of it.
Yeah, because it is just, it's like you're really getting comfortable there.
Uh-huh.
And
there's something gross about that.
Yeah, and I think for people who travel a lot, I think they find ways to get more and more comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
That people who don't travel that often are probably like, they're very aware of not being in the way, not doing things that piss other people off because you're in close quarters and that sort of thing. To where, I mean, we travel fairly frequently, and I don't know, I think we're just starting to like settle into the like, well, we're going to be on this plane for 3 hours. Like, I might as well be comfortable and have a good time.
Yeah.
It's like same reason you bring your headphones and something to watch or something to listen to, a book to read, whatever. It's like, yeah, it's a fucking 3-hour flight, and you can't time it perfectly so that you're not in your eating range. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to freaking get food and eat every plane from here on out because it's the most fun. That paired with the movie, it was the best thing ever.
I know.
It was the best thing ever.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm in.
I've been doing it. That or like having a drink. Like, I love having an extra drink. Whether it's a coffee or, getting a tea or something. Or
those don't get me as hyped up like they do for you.
It gets me hyped up, but it also is so annoying because then you have to carry it on with you. And it's like having to just like not spill. It's like you're carrying an open drink versus just like a bag of food.
Yeah.
But no, I love it. I remember back in the day where I would, like on the Sunday when we fly back, I would be dancing all day, wouldn't have time to shower, just rush to the airport. And I would just be sitting in my clothes that I was drenched in with sweat all day. I'm disgusting. And then I just have to sit in a plane.
That's the worst.
Oh, I probably
that would piss me off more than the food if somebody stank like shit sitting next to me.
I probably didn't smell. It was more just like I feel so grimy and sticky.
Yeah.
And just like my clothes are damp.
You got to deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I at least don't have that situation. I still look sloppy, but.
Yeah. So eating on a plane, you're not an asshole. You're living the best life.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Yeah. I agree. I'm with you too. Like if I see that, I didn't before. I wasn't like, oh my gosh.
It makes me want to get food for every plane ever now.
I know. Especially because some airports actually have pretty good food.
Yeah.
I know that's like probably that's probably a hot take, but.
Well, and I think that's what was cool is like it was just Panda. It's even just something simple like. I don't know. I think there was something about just like opening that up and it's like just this tray of food. If it was like a fucking Subway sandwich or some shit, that wouldn't be as fun. I wouldn't enjoy that as much. But like having a hot meal, if that's what it is, it's the hot meal on the plane. Mm-hmm. It's like, am I in first class? What's going on? That's how you hijack first class. You just bring your own hot meal.
And a drink.
Yeah. And you're like, wow. I
So
can't
illegal.
believe I didn't pay $1,000 for this. And
yep.
I get first class treatment.
And it's better food too. I feel like that's good. I have a couple more, but I'm not as fired up about those because we haven't flown recently, so I'm not as like
I think we should just do one.
boiled. Yeah.
Just one.
I agree.
One an app.
I agree. So I posted the video. So Taylor, is it Lewin? From Bussin'?
I think
How'd
it's
you say
Taylor
his last
Lewin.
Lewin?
Yeah.
Lewin?
No, Taylor Lewan.
That's it.
It's Lewan.
Yeah.
To where people keep saying, or they always said Lewin.
It's spelled like that. It's Lewin.
No, A-N. It's A-N.
Are you, what percent?
100.
No, for real?
Yep.
Can't look it up.
Can't look it up. It's
Clock
100.
it. Write it down because I will need to. But he posted a video on his stories. Or no, it was on, he posted it. Of him saying, like, we got to do better. As parents, we got to do better. He's like, I expect. He's
Taylor Lewan is a NFL football player
Yes.
for like 7 years.
Yes. And he goes,
Hilarious that you follow somebody like this.
oh, I follow all the Boston people. The whole crew.
I know.
The whole crew.
It's just so funny to me.
Even the producers, everything. But he goes, we have to do better. Kind of like I'm briefing it, but like if you are a part of a team, a school, or whatever, like you are signing up to be a part of that community. He's like, every time I drop my kids off, he's like, I send them on their way or whatever, and every person that I pass, I give them one of these. And he's like, and I make a note to put it back on the steering wheel so that everybody gets their own this. And he's like, it drives me nuts when I don't get a wave back. He's like, I don't care if you like me. I don't care if I like you. We are a part of this team, and this is all we have.
Yeah.
As parents, this is all we have.
Yeah.
He's like,
Seriously.
you have to keep it alive.
That's such a football thing, too. It's like, or even just sports thing. Like, you're told so much. Like, it doesn't matter if you like your teammates. If they're your teammates. You have to, you know, you have to create that relationship or whatever. You have to be cool with each other. So it's so funny. He just like carries that into real life. That's where it's like, football players are the best. They have that attitude in the rest of their life too. Yeah. So it's like, it's that type of stuff. It's like, I don't care if I like you or not. If I wave to you, you wave back, and we don't have to like each other, but we gotta keep it chill. I think this is what I was like partially trying to get at in the couple episodes ago with talking about why just athletes are better. It's like the physical ability that they have is so incredible to me, but it's also that like their mindset is so specific. You see the world differently. Yeah. In that way. And I love it. It's the team sport thing though too. And I think it's football too, because you take basketball, there's only 5 guys on the court, like 10 to 12 on a team. To where football, there's like 53 guys. So it's like you're literally doing this as a tribe, as a community. Like there's so many people. There's also 11 people on the field on your team. So it's like you and 10 other guys have to be in communication and working together. Like that's fucking hard. Go work with 11 people and have everybody doing what they're supposed to be doing. Like it's difficult. You have to have the teamwork that, I don't know, football is just different in that way. And I'm sure soccer's the same thing. I don't know much about soccer because they have a lot of players on the field at the same time too. But team sports, football specifically, there's just something different about the way they view things, because it's like their life is working with other people and working together. So they just take that to everything else now. And it's like, well, I wave to you, you wave to me. Like, this is how we know that everything's chill. It's like, if you don't wave back, I'm going, what's wrong with you? Like, why aren't you a part of this thing? You're not being a team player. You're not being a team player. Like, what's your problem? Like, we need to either fix you or get you out of here. Like, one of the two things. So it's this like immediate trigger of like, something's up. We got to fix this. We got to do something with this. Well, because he was saying, he's like, I don't care what grade your kid is. Like, I don't care what you're here for. Your kid goes to my school. Because he started out like, PSA to every parent from my kid's school. We got to do better. Like, we're all part of the school, whether like they're having a bad day, a good day. Like, we all have this moment every morning. Yeah. Where we pass each other, and we have to keep this alive. This is all we have. Yeah. It's like, well, I get that. That's what's like the joke about the drop off and pickup line thing. So it's like everybody hates it. It all sucks. Yeah. Like, so why don't you kind of bond over that? Yeah. Instead of getting pissed at each other about how much it sucks, like, you bond over that and you go like, yeah, this sucks. Everybody's in each other's way. Like, that's just how it is. The fucking kids don't know where they're going either. Like, they think they know what your car is. It's mostly
the kid's fault.
Yeah. It's like, we're all in this together.
Yeah.
But everybody's got to be all pissy and moany and whatever, to where it's like, if that was a football team, yeah, the fucking Sunday AM workouts or Saturday AM workouts suck and nobody likes them, but you bond over that. You don't then get pissed at each other for like having to be there and deal with that. It's like, you bond over it. It's like, yeah, these suck and we're doing this together. Okay, let's get through it. That's so football mentality that out in the real world, it's like, no, it's like, you're in my way. I'm pissed at you. It's like, we all think this sucks. We all hate this. We should be able to like bond and communicate and like think this is funny and, you know, break the tension and all that kind of stuff and wave to each other and just be like, this is crazy, right? Yeah. It's like, that should be what it is, not this fucking everybody's angry all the time.
Yeah.
You start to get that, like, you know, 3:00 starts rolling around and you're just like, why am I so anxious and weird? It's like, because you got to go pick up your fucking kid in 30 minutes and it sucks.
Yeah.
To where it should be like, hey, I wonder if I'll see so-and-so, or I wonder, like, it's not that bad because people are goofy there, funny there, you know, picking up their kids and it's cool. It's like, that's more what it should be.
Yeah, I thought it was funny. Cool message, and it was funny.
Yeah. Something special.
Football players are the best.
Something special about them.
There is something special about them.
Yeah.
Do you have anything? Otherwise, I have something to bring up.
You can keep going. I'm pretty blank in the head.
Yeah. Okay. It's black shirt. You're very... What's the guy?
Death.
No. He looks like someone, but it's not coming to me. I was thinking about earlier today this concept of whether, like, anything in life, kind of like this could pertain to literally anything, is knowing the difference or being able to analyze the difference in yourself of when are you being patient for the snack and when are you just being lazy or not going for it. Does that make sense how I'm phrasing that? Like, yeah. Just in life of things. Like, how do you know when you're not pushing the gears as hard as you could to get to that thing and you're just like, well, it's gonna come or in time. It's like, no, you're not putting in the effort.
Yeah.
Versus like, no, this is going to just like, I just have to settle into this and like, it's not time for that to happen yet. I don't need the final outcome yet.
I think that's where the exercise and the, you know, the eating right and just having a good diet, like that's kind of the simplest example for that. Like what you're talking about is it's so easy to identify if you're being lazy or not, because it's like, are you doing it or are you not doing it? Because like health is very just continuing to do it and always doing it. You know, it's not like, oh, I gotta wait until Monday to start working out, or I gotta wait till New Year's Day to then start my workout routine and start going. It's like, no, that's not you being patient. You're just being lazy now. It's like, you could start today or tomorrow. Like, you can figure that out and deal with it. Same with eating. It's like, you know what's probably the right decisions and the wrong decisions. That's why the exercise thing is very... I think that's why I get annoyed or frustrated with it, because it's so simple. It's like, you're either doing it or you're not doing it. There's really no patience involved with it. It's either you're being lazy or you're not. I think other things are more complicated than that. But it's like, you're either going to the gym or you're doing weight training, you're going for walks, You're emphasizing your health in exercise and in what you're putting in your body, or you're not doing it. So this like, well, I'll like, I'm sore, or I didn't, I'm going to eat these things, but then tomorrow I'm going to do better or whatever. It's like the negotiating with yourself and trying to figure these things out to like game the system. Mm-hmm. It's like, that's your laziness. That's not you being patient and you trying to work with yourself and all that kind of stuff. You're just not doing it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, when it comes to health and that sort of thing, there's no patience. You don't need to be patient.
Well, and that's what I think is funny with the health stuff is it's so both. Like, there is no patience, but they're also, you're putting in the work for what patience will give you. Like, you get the immediate outcomes or the benefits from it, but how I guess we're seeing fitness more as of recently, or I specifically am, is more for that longevity purpose of, I want to make it easier for me when I'm 70 and 80. I want to be strong enough to be able to not need help, or to be able to sit up and sit down and blah, blah, blah. That it's like putting in the work now and seeing the result. Like, I can't see the results now of that. I'm not old yet. Mm-hmm. But then the immediate, I was thinking about that too, actually, with the fitness stuff. It's kind of a sidebar of this, but
yeah, kind of detour.
Like, we're taking a little bit more of a break right now. And then with holiday stuff coming up, we typically, we travel, but we are in the last how many years more consistent with it. But before we weren't, when we would like say go back home or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I wonder how many people do that in, whether it's the holidays or not, like they would take a week off and think that that's okay. Or not even okay, but like that would be normal. It's like, that's not being consistent though. It's like you take a week off and you are slowly falling out of your routine, or within that week you're slowly, starting to make not as good of choices with your food or whatever. That I'm so aware when we do that of like, ooh, okay. Mm-hmm. It's either not good, or I'm registering it's okay because I'm not trying to do anything right now.
What does that sound?
I don't know. Was it the router or something?
I don't know. Mystery sound. Yeah, I think with the holidays specifically, most people are going to take a step back, mm-hmm. or like find a way, because, and it's something that we talked about before. It's like, there's more than just exercise and eating right. There's also, mental and social health and that sort of stuff that like, when we go home for Christmas, I'm not going to like be super strict with my diet and be like crazy on top of working out and forcing that and making sure that happens, because I think I'm doing that most of the time, that now this is my time and I'm able to do this during the holidays because I'm going to be around family more, to where I don't get that opportunity a lot of the time. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I want to be able to like enjoy the time here. And it's like, I get you don't need it, but having fun food and having drinks, it just makes things more fun. Everybody's doing it. It's the community thing.
It's a part of life, just like being healthy is a part of life.
Yeah. So when it comes to this time, like, I'm totally fine with not going to the gym as much, or not exercising as much, not eating as great. But like you said, I'm very aware of it. And then when we come home, it's now, let's get right back into it and start kicking things into gear. Like, I'm not going to try to ease myself back in. I'll ease myself into workouts, but I'm going to the gym every single day, because we need to create that routine, the consistency, and the discipline immediately. Not this, I'm going to go once a week, and then I'm going to build to 2 and then to 3. It's like you can go to the gym every single day. It doesn't mean you have to do a whole bunch of stuff. There's a famous like jiu-jitsu school and gym, John Danaher and his school. They train every single day, and their guys don't get hurt either, because when they feel like they're beat up and sore, they still go, but they take it easy. It's like, I think there's, and they have the greatest jiu-jitsu practitioner probably to ever live at this point, is what people are saying with Gordon Ryan. It's like, it's because he's constantly drilling the things every single day, whether it's at 100% or 20%. So there's really no excuse, or there's no like rest day. You don't need to go take a rest day. You don't need to completely be away from the gym or completely not. I mean, it's like, think about that. There's this weird thing with the cheat day and the meal, but there's really no benefit to having a cheat day. That's just an excuse for you to be able to break your healthy diet for a day, because it maybe helps you mentally. But it's like, it would be much healthier and better for you if you never had a cheat day.
Yeah, I think the cheat day thing it works and it's beneficial, but not from the health standpoint. You're doing it from the mental ease, so that I guess like when we've done that, we don't call it a cheat day. We call it more like a fun day. Like, we don't do it for the eating bad food or whatever. It's more just that we do something fun. But that allows us to be more structured and extra strict on those other days, because we know we're going to get a fun day. So maybe that's the same thing with food. But I don't think most people are then strict on those other days. That's what I'm kind of getting at with this whole like
with the holiday thing.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I'm curious how many people would take several days off and think that's okay, and then how many times are they doing that? But then you're not almost not aware of it. It's like, I know in the year when we do that.
Yeah. You can kind of forecast it and know. I mean, we do that a lot with the holidays and with certain times that we know, like, okay, exercise and diet's probably not going to be great at these times or at this point, so we should really dial in,
prep for it.
Yeah, the month before or the month after, and not try to be, loosey-goose with it. I think the point I was trying to make with the cheat day thing is, like, we know that that's not beneficial, yet we still do it for your health, like you said. But yet we think the rest day from the gym is super beneficial. Like, oh, you need to take a day off. You need to make sure you're not, like, you have a day or two that you're just relaxing and everything's fine. It's like, well, we don't do that with health. Why would we do that with that exercise? Why can't you just still go to the gym and do mobility? Do a regular warm-up that you do, and do some just like active movements with no weight, or maybe very little weight, and then stretch at the end, or maybe it's like going in the sauna, or it's doing something you haven't done before that's very low intensity and that sort of thing. Like, that keeps the consistency and the routine and the discipline, and it doesn't change anything for you to where you need to take a rest day. You need to go sit down and do nothing all day. It's like, we all know it from school. It's like, it's so much harder to go back to school after Christmas break when you've had a week off, or say summer, than it is like when you just have your regular weekend and you're back to school on Monday. It's because you're in the routine. You're in the discipline of it.
Well,
so why are you taking 2, sometimes 3 rest days? And for some people, it's like they work out twice a week. And we have said that you can do, like, go exercise 2 days a week. That's fine. That's enough exercise to get started. But I think the goal is to be able to build to an active and healthy lifestyle that...
Well, but I think us saying that means 2 different things. Like, we're saying to have 2 intentional workout days where you're putting time to your specific training, and that, like, whether you're weightlifting, whether you're doing more, like you were doing more like endurance and cardio stuff, like 2 very intentional, intense days for you, and then having the other days be more relaxed, but you're still active.
And that's the problem, is like most people's jobs is just sitting down, to where they get up, they maybe get ready for work, shower, eat, make their coffee. They go to work, whether it's at home now or they drive there. Then they're at work and they sit there for 8 hours. Then they drive back, or maybe they're already home. And then it's like basically make dinner and then sit and do nothing again. And it's maybe it is go exercise. And they get 1 hour of exercise. It's like you maybe had 1,000 steps today and worked out for an hour. It's like, that's not active. It's just not. And then people wonder why, like, oh, I can't get healthy. Like, I can't put on muscle. I can't lose weight. It's like, because you're not active. You're 9 to 5 sitting on your butt all day, and then you go do 1 hour of activity. It's like, there's no reason why your body would change and respond to that.
That's one thing that I'm became very aware of with all, like, when I started traveling more heavily, was how tired I was getting, and like the flying and sleeping for very minimal hours and then having to be still very active, just how that would drain my body. But I think there can be a version of that where it's like, okay, yeah, you do need to recover and rest. But I think people, and what I would too in those moments, like fall into, well, sleeping more, resting more, not sleeping more, but just like not doing anything was the only way to recover. Versus if I was healthier and my body was able to handle more, the stress of the flying and the lack of sleep and the high activity days wouldn't get me as much because my machine is working better. That's like, when I started adding in workouts on those weekends, I wasn't getting as strung out when I would come back home, because it's like I was still keeping the machine healthy. It wasn't, I'm running myself ragged and then nothing, running myself ragged and then nothing. That I think most people are probably in that schedule with their life of things are going. They're tired all the time. They're running busy schedules. They have kids. They have, maybe relationships they're taking care of. That I think a lot of people are in that situation, but the push very rarely is like, well, then get yourself healthier to be able to handle that better. It's more, well, you need rest because your life is difficult. It's like, yeah, but you could be able to handle that better.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the counterintuitive point, is like, oh, I'm tired and I don't get a lot of sleep and it's go. Now the way to make me feel better is to go work out. Like, that doesn't seem like it adds up. But It's like sitting on the couch and calling it rest is not benefiting you.
Especially if, like, you're on your phone the whole time, you're working on the computer, or you're watching TV. It's like your brain isn't getting a rest with that.
No, and I think that's more of the stress is the mental. It's the brain activity and all that kind of stuff. That you don't need a bodily rest.
Your brain needs it.
Your brain needs it. To where, most people go, well, I need to rest today because I've had a crazy, whatever, 4 days or 5 days from work and this and that. And so then they sit and they just watch TV all day, and it's like they're on their phone or they're doing this and that. It's like you're stressing your brain to where you were already doing that for 4 or 5 days. It's like you're calling it rest, but then it's actually more activity or more straining what has already been strained mostly. It's like you've had zero physical activity all week and you claim you need rest, but really you probably need to go get some physical exercise and give your brain a break. It's kind of this weird, like, I don't know, weird trickery in a way. It's like, oh, I need rest because I've had a long week. And it's like, well, you've had a long week mentally, not physically. You've done nothing physically all week.
Oh, yeah, that's weird.
To where now you're going, let's take a break and I need a rest. And your rest is just sit and kind of do nothing all day. It's like, if you're going to rest, like, go to fucking bed and sleep for 12 hours. don't just sit on the couch and then stress your brain doing something else. It's like
that is interesting.
Going and getting physical activity is actually going to relax your brain and the stress and the mental thinking all the time. And then you're going to get this positive benefit from actually doing something physical. So it's like people don't separate the two. They go like, oh, I've had a long week. I'm stressed. I'm tired, whatever. I need to just sit and do nothing. It's like, well, you're just kind of doing this self-fulfilling thing of, I don't want to work out, so I'm not going to do it, because you'll do all the brain stress all week, but and sitting there on your phone, watching TV, like whatever it is, but you won't get up and go be active and stress yourself that way. It's like you're overloading in one area of the stress and you're completely negating the stress in this area.
I've noticed that, like, when I have days where I'm just on the computer working a lot, my breaks, I'm trying to be more intentional about that now, of like just laying down or sitting there for 10 minutes and just thinking, or sitting there and listening to a song or whatever, but I'm like closing my eyes, or I'm not looking at the screen while I'm listening to music. I try to just like, because like, well, I'm taking a break from the screen with another screen. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It's like, so my brain is I'm needing a brain break, but the signals and the cortisol spikes that I'm getting with the Instagram or the whatever, it's like, oh, I'm not getting a break. I'm just doing the same thing. It's just a fun break.
Yeah, to where I think if you
but my brain doesn't know the difference. I mean, it does.
No.
But
well,
it's still,
it thinks it's still working. It's like it still thinks it's still under stress. So I think that's what's cool about those two differences, is like you can be really stressed from the work and whatever else in your brain, but when you go do physical activity, like, it's almost relaxation for the brain, but then it's stress in the body. It's like you're getting these two different things. The physical activity stresses your body, but it relaxes the brain. The on the computer and the work and all that kind of stuff stresses your brain, but it relaxes your body. So it's like you have these kind of two perfect pairs. Now just use them in equal amount. But people only exercise, or only go on their, go work, go on their phone, watch TV, do all that stuff and stress their brain out. But then their physical body gets no stress. And then they go, well, I'm tired, so I need to rest more. It's like, no, that's not. You need to rest your brain, and that's go get physical activity. And even still, it's like, it's good to stress your brain a little bit, just like it's good to stress your body a little bit.
Am I still on the camera? I'm so far back.
Yeah. To where, like, you got to do both. It's not that don't work or don't be on your phone or don't watch TV or whatever. You can do those things, but it's also, you need to go be physical, go be active, go do something. You're staring at a screen all day. Go outside and get a horizon view. It's like something that Andrew Huberman talks about all the time. That we need those breaks. We need to see the horizon. We need to see, like, the peripheral wide scope, not just this, right here all day long.
Because I don't think we calculate how much those brain charging those brain depleting activities, like, really affect. Like, I notice for myself, if I'm sitting there and my breaks are I'm looking at Instagram or I'm looking at whatever, my mood will shift. And maybe people aren't aware of that, or I'm just more sensitive to it, but I will notice a shift in my mood. And it's like, well, yeah, this thing is changing my chemical reactions to things. It's like, yeah, of course it's going to adjust. And then from there, am I going to want to go do the physical activity? Am I going to be very inspired about life? Or when I'm having a conversation with you, like, am I going to be up to it? It's like, probably not. My brain is now at a lower percentage, and work is probably already taking that away, or life is taking that away from my brain. It's like, now I'm just adding smaller doses of just depletion. And then I think we wonder why, like, why do I always feel weird or sad or blah, 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 or stressed. Like I can't handle a lot.
Yeah.
It's like all I did was like, you know, lay around or like on the weekends when you're gone. It's like I try to not be on my phone so much because I will greatly see a change in my attitude.
Yeah. And
because I am working so much just sitting down. It's like my physical, it's all the brain that's getting messed up.
Right. And I don't think people realize that of how much stress just like being on the screen or, you know, the kind of obsession over the phone and just going to different things on the phone all the time. Like I'm going to check Instagram, then I'm going to check Twitter, then I'm going to check, you know, fucking fantasy football, then I'm going to check, you know, not fantasy football, but other sports. And then I'm going to go to my email and then I'm going to go to this. It's like, you're just constantly in that loop of the phone, stressing the brain. And it's like, we've talked about it too. It's like, we'll have a podcast on and then be on our phone, or we'll have a podcast on and then be watching a video on YouTube and then on our phone. It's like, you can do some of that, but
it's like, you want to talk about how kids are developing ADHD?
Yeah,
holy shit.
Yeah.
We're training them to do that.
Right.
It's like, you know, it's like you look at shows now. It's like the songs that my mom would use in her classes are slow as shit. And I'm like, these kids are not going to pay attention this whole time.
Yep.
It's like, well, they did back then.
Yeah.
So what does that show? Like all the songs now that are like instructional songs that I would use in class, they're fast paced. Shows, they're fast paced. Movies, they're fast paced. Like you think of, what was that one show? Mr. Rogers.
Oh, so slow.
It is dull colors.
Yeah.
It's dull motion. Everything is he has a slow cadence of his voice. It's like, yeah, we're training kids and we're training adults to have ADHD.
Yeah.
We're practicing that every day to have that.
Literally. It's like,
I'm not saying you don't have ADHD. I'm going, we're building ourselves to have that. Like, it's not like you were born with it. I'm sorry.
Well, like you said, it's practice. I mean, you're literally practicing to have it. Just like you practice to get good at weightlifting or have a skill. You're practicing the skill of not having a good attention on one thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it could be so mitigated by seeking out activity. I think that's the other thing. People seek out more ways to sit down and do nothing than they do seek out to go do stuff. It's like, you need to go be active. That's going to be way better for your health, your brain. I think that's kind of I don't know. We know now more so because of how much it's talked about, but I think it still hasn't clicked for a lot of people of like, you wonder why you have ADHD or struggle paying attention, or you wonder why like you're anxious, you have anxiety, you're depressed, you have all these issues. It's like, you've found every way possible to not be active.
And I don't think it's just, we weren't testing our kids back then.
No, for sure not.
You can see it in their behavior. You can see it in adults' behavior.
I
mean, it's like, it's sad to struggle. Like I have like people that struggle to pay attention. Like that's not just, I don't want to say like that's not normal, but it's not normal.
Well, it's more normal now than like being able to sit and pay attention is.
Yeah, but I guess that's what I'm saying. Like
kids in the dance class that can't sit still and can't like what you did the other night of, okay, we're going to run the dance. Like you can't be moving.
Fidgets.
You can't be moving if there's a point where we're not supposed to be moving, to where so many of the kids are like, they're supposed to be just posing and waiting for their turn kind of thing in the dance. And like, they're just like moving and like, you know, flipping their hair or doing whatever. It's like, this is a part of the routine of the dance and they can't even sit still.
Yeah.
It's like, and then we've had examples of someone will come in after a long weekend and be tired and all of a sudden they're not doing it anymore.
Yeah.
It's like,
and they're behaved.
Yeah. It's like, because you're actually physically active and going and doing stuff. It's It's like they had a long physical weekend. It wasn't like a long mental, they were on the iPad all weekend.
And
it was like they were physically active all weekend.
Yeah.
Then they come in and they're like, I don't want to move extra. I don't want to fidget and do stuff. Like, I don't have any energy to do that. I have enough energy to do what we're doing, but I'm not going to just sit here and like try to find distractions and do other stuff because I'm anxious. It's like,
yeah. And I think that's what we're recognizing, this extra, I don't say extra, but like misguided energy as it being anxious or anxiety or like uncomfortability, which it does. It feels uncomfortable in your body when you're feeling those things. But again, it's like the whole, like, I wonder how many people would take how many days off and think that that's okay. And then go like, well, why, like you said, all those things of why can't this happen? Why can't I feel this? Why can't blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, okay, but that's the whole point is it's so easy to see in kids, but as adults, we're doing the same thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, and that's like, we talk about all the time with kids. It's like, I mean, the obvious thing is like adults are just big children. With kids, it's so obvious to go like, oh, you're tired, or oh, you're hungry, or whatever. To where with adults, it's a little bit more difficult to see those things. Like, oh, you haven't got enough activity. Go do something, and you'll be a little bit more. You'll be more behaved, or you'll be, less crazy running around the house type of thing. To where we don't think like adults need that for some reason. We think, oh, we're adults, we can handle that and do that now. And it's like, it's so untrue. I
don't even think it's adults. I think we can handle it. I think it's, adults, life is hard and exhausting. We don't have it's like you've always heard that as growing up. Like, I wish I had the energy when I was younger. It's like you do, you're just using it on wrong things. Like, yes, you are doing more. You're an adult. Your life is harder. You're having to handle literally more tasks in the day. You're the one that cleans the house. You're the one that cooks. If you're a parent, you're the one that has to take care of your kids. Dealing with a significant other, that's difficult. Like, and your job. Kids just have to go to school and like be in a fun activity. That I think we're misguided with, but we should also be able to. We should be building ourselves over our life to be able to handle being an adult and handle what that means versus like, oh, it's just going to be more hard as you get older. It's like, that sucks. It's like, I refuse.
Yeah. Well, and we're even more so, I feel like, in the culture now where it's the feel bad for me. It's the, things are hard for me and trauma and all that type of shit, to where it's like everybody was going through it before. It's just we didn't like the people that were doing that. We were kind of just like, suck it up. Like we all go through that. Suck it up.
Or they didn't talk about it.
To where, and people didn't talk about it because that was the response a lot of the time. Just like, suck it up, deal with it. We're all going through that. It's like, oh, you have a problem like trying to get to the gym? It's like, yeah, almost everybody does. It's like the small percentage of the population can actually do it consistently. Or, oh, you're not happy with your body? Okay, well, that's freaking everybody. Congratulations. That it's not that anymore. It's now more like, oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, I feel bad for you. Oh, like, let's talk about it. Let's talk about our problems. Let's talk about our struggles. Let's talk about trauma and, oh, how that makes you feel bad. Oh, I'm so sorry. And blah, blah. It's this babying bullshit.
Well, I think now it's even further. It's not even babying or, oh, I feel sorry for you. It's how do we empower that?
Yeah, totally. Totally. That it's like, you think that's helping you? How many people are like, oh, I just want somebody to that will listen to me. It's like, I don't want somebody to just listen to me.
I want someone to challenge me.
Yeah, fucking challenge me. Like, tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me where I'm thinking weird. Tell me, like, I don't know, just like, don't just let me talk and sit in my soapbox. Everybody's just letting everybody do that. And look, where it gets you. We're the most obese country in the fucking world.
Mm-hmm.
And all we deal with is political issues. Companies are changing how they do everything because they want to be inclusive to everybody and everything. And we've turned this into just a babying culture because nobody wants to be told the truth anymore. It's like, you want the truth? You want to like go put on muscle or go lose weight? Go to the fucking gym.
Yeah. Go
to the gym and eat healthy. But no, we want this babying of like, well, it's actually not healthy to be super muscly and active and eat really good. Like, you actually need cheat days because your fucking body does this and that. It's like, it's all bullshit. Yeah. It's all bullshit that people are just trying to make you feel better. It's like, go do it. But you want to find this game the system. And I know you want to game the system because I have my things where I want to game the system. Mm-hmm. And I know that I do that. It's like, you can't game it. You have to do what the shit is. The people that are healthy and in shape, or the people that, make money and have a successful career, they're not going to go, yeah, I just gamed the system and I tricked it. And nobody realized it. It's like, no, they went through the shit.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's what we talked about yesterday, which is something that I still struggle with, of taking the ego out of your life and taking the emotions out as much as you can where it matters. Like, I am someone that does not, I have never done well with criticism. That's not, like, as a kid, I would avoid it like the plague. Like, I would want to be someone that was, like, say a kid in an activity. Like, I would never be the bad kid that would get in trouble because I couldn't handle the attention of getting in trouble. Or I would want to be extra on top of it when I was at dance or whatever because I don't want to get corrected. I know it's easier for me to bust my ass and do extra than for my emotional state to get corrected. I don't do well with that. But as you get older, there are just going to be things that you don't know, or there's going to be things that you need to get called out on, or there are things that I don't know, like, you're not going to be good at everything. You're not going to naturally know what the right answers are. And if you're able to surround people that are different than you or challenge you or whatever, I think it is really beneficial to just let go of the ego or the emotion of like, well, but I'm not, this is me. I'm not someone that gets things wrong or gets critiques or whatever. It's like, I remember the first time you told me, like, you're mean sometimes. It's like, I have never been told that. I was always the kind, sweet girl, and everybody else around me was mean, always meaner than me. So my shit wasn't called out. It's like, okay, but you're still being mean sometimes. Wrong. Like that alone. It's not, well, you're mean, but people around you are more mean. Mm-hmm. Like, doesn't matter. You're still mean. That allows me to get better. I want to be better at things. I want to be good. I want to try to see what's the best version of myself that I can get to. I'm not going to get that way with just filling my own ego up.
Yeah. Well, it's the thing that's said all the time, but it's like being honest with yourself. And people just don't do that enough. And I think
it's so hard, but
it's so difficult. But I think there's the trend now where it's like, it's generally difficult to like really sit and be kind of aware, like almost therapy for yourself. And even for people that go to therapy, that is now not difficult. Almost everybody does it.
Sure.
To where now there's this weird trend and culture of like, I don't know how to describe it other than like everybody's their own therapist now. And they think they know what they're doing. And they don't. To where like you can hear the conversations that they have and you go, oh, you think you know what you need, but really this is just you not being honest with yourself and avoiding this issue.
Yeah.
You know, taking the exercise thing, for example. It's like, oh, well, whatever. Making an excuse about not having to go to the gym because this is happening currently and this is actually better for me and I've thought about this and blah, 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 blah. It's like, typically people wouldn't have even thought of it. They would just go like, I don't really want to go because I'm lazy. And they would be able to admit that. To where now it's this whole like, well, actually for my health and overall health, I need to be balanced. And my balance is actually I only go to the gym once a week and I only do sauna there. So my gym is go to the sauna and come back because I need to work more on like my mental health and do this and that and blah, blah. It's like, wow, you've created this incredible game to not have to go to the gym and do shit. It's like, you're just not being honest with yourself.
Yep.
You're avoiding the actual issue and making this cute little game about how you're still being productive and still being successful and still doing all this shit. It's like, well, have fun not getting to where you want to go with that because you're not taking the problem head on and going for it and doing the shit that's hard. Mm-hmm. You're finding a way to make it easy and something that you can manage and get around it. But at the end of the day, you're not going to get to where you want to be doing that. And people do that with exercise, with health, with like their job, with relationships. Mm-hmm. It's like you are just finding the game and making the game because there's this trend of like, oh, let me just talk my way out of this. It's like, I love that scene in Community, the show, where he says like, I realized early on that I can talk my way in or out of anything.
And we do that to ourselves too.
And we do it to ourselves it's like, it's the perfect phrase or scene or whatever.
Yep.
That it's like, oh shit. Like it made me really think about like, how much do I talk myself into doing something that I already want to do, even though I know it's not the right decision, or talk myself out of something I really don't want to do, even though I should go do it. It's like, you're just constantly manipulating and convincing yourself of the wrong bad thing.
And you know what? I do that. I really try to do that now because I've been called out so many times. And called out meaning like life has called me out. So it's like,
yeah, same.
The data is there. Like, you know, you take the weight loss thing. It's like, okay, well, I easily could say, oh, I'm heavier now, or I'm bloated more, or I keep more body fat on, or I have more cellulite. It's like, I easily could say, well, I'm getting older, or my hormones are getting kind of funky as I'm getting older, or I'm not as active as I was when I was a kid and I was dancing 6 days a week. Sure. Or it could be, I'm having too many carbs.
Yeah.
And when I take out the carbs and I don't have any bloating, my skin clears up, my body fat goes down. It's like I could have been playing that excuse game over and over and over for years and keep putting on more weight and like having the pain, having the bloating, and then turning to supplements because like, oh, I'm in pain. And that really does suck. So it's like, oh, well, you just didn't want to be stricter. You didn't want to be disciplined. You didn't want to cut out something that you enjoy. It's like, it doesn't even necessarily need to require that, but just know the truth. Question yourself on what is actually occurring, because how many people would just go, it just is harder for me. That's just what it is.
Yep.
It's like
you said, I'm older. Like, and people use, there's so much access to information now that people use that to make their excuses too, of like, well, maybe my gut biome is different now. It just doesn't, it's bad. It doesn't handle what it could before and blah, blah, blah. It's like, you're just using fucking things that you just learned to manipulate yourself into staying where you don't want to even stay.
Well, and unfortunately, like, sometimes those reasonings are also false, which I think sucks even more, because sometimes that was just bred into us. Like, how many times have you heard, like, well, I'm older, just wait till you get to my age. Or as a girl, like, just wait till you have kids.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, that's interesting though, because I've seen plenty of the older population being in shape and being able to do all the same things and ride bikes and go on walks and be active and have more muscle than I do see some younger kids in the gym. Or I see some moms lose the weight and they're active again and they're fit. So it's like, don't tell me that that's just what it is. No, that's you. You did that.
Yeah.
You stopped working out. You stopped trying to like hold on. And I think that's like for me too, like I try to focus on that with the bullshit stuff that just doesn't frickin' serve me anymore.
Yeah. Well, it's the hard reality.
Because I think it serves me because it's easier.
Oh yeah. Well,
it's not actually better for me.
Well, because it's the old, annoying cliche of like, good things come with whatever that takes time, or like the good things come from hard work and it being a struggle. It's like, yeah, the shit that comes easy probably isn't worth it most of the time. And people don't like what you're saying for yourself. And I do it too. And I'm constantly trying to kind of ask myself that question of, am I just trying to game the system right now? Am I just trying to find the easy way out and make a cool story about it so that it seems justified? Well, you really want to get to that place. Is this going to take you there? These actions and this thought process or this whatever. It's like, probably not. When you're constantly trying to just find a way around the struggle and avoid it and make yourself more comfortable. It's like finding ways to make yourself more comfortable is just going to result in you not getting anything done.
Yeah.
That's not where anything happens from. We're constantly trying to find a way in every aspect of life, even in the exercise world. It's like the people that won't squat or won't deadlift because it's hard on the spine and this and that. It's like, you just don't want to do the hard shit. You want to just do your fucking cable machines.
You want to talk about not good for the spine. Talk about friggin' leg press. That's just hard on me, but it's like, so they'll go and do these other exercises that are easier.
Yep.
But your reasoning for not doing it, those things also have that.
Yeah, everything has it. It's like in your shit form because you've been doing cables and machines your whole life, or most recently, it's like you're gonna get hurt doing that anyways. It's trying to find comfort. It's like you have to stop trying to find comfort. You have to go whatever you want. You have to go do the shit that's hard.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to go head on into that, but it's like, you want to put on muscle, it's like you got to go to the gym and lift.
Yeah.
And then continue to kind of increase that.
Well, and I think that's where I came up with that thought of like, what am I maybe thinking I'm just being patient for, waiting for the time, or things will settle out, versus like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not going to, because you're not putting anything in to make that happen.
Right.
So it's like, okay, am I being patient for the snack, or am I just being oblivious to where I'm not putting in effort. You know, it's like we talk about a lot on this podcast, but kids. That's something I always have wanted. I want to have kids. I want to be a mom. That's something that's, I think is going, like, that's very important to me to do. That's not saying that's a fun, because it's a lot of work, but it's like, that's the prize. Having to get to have kids is the prize. So it's not just, oh, I got to be patient and then I get the prize. It's like, you have to, in my opinion, I want to earn to be a parent. So that means I need to get on my shit. I need to, like, this whole, oh, well, I don't want to be criticized and blah, blah, blah. It's like, there's probably going to be a lot of things that I need corrections on, or I'm going to suck at, or whatever, and you're going to call me out on. If I'm not good at getting corrections, now my kids suffer.
When your kids are going to correct you then too. Yeah,
and they're going to correct me by their behavior and how they turn out and what decisions that they choose to be, because they're seeing me do that. It's like, so now my kids suffer because I can't handle getting corrected, or like, say in our relationship, like stuff that we need to work out that can't be put on pause. That can't be, no matter how hard the conversation is or whatever, like we need to be doing that, because if having kids that are happy and we enjoy that process is the prize, what are we doing to set that up? What are we doing? What work are we putting in and implementing to earn that prize? And I think it's not just be patient for it.
Yeah, you have to do the work.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't think it's that extreme.
I think everything that is extreme, maybe that's also a separate issue.
We're very like, everything is important and everything needs to, I don't know, like you need to do, we take everything very seriously, to where I think people just, they don't take things as seriously. And you know what? There's a lot of benefit in that too, but I
would like to challenge that. I don't know if we take everything super seriously.
Well, we take a lot of things.
Oh, I guess, yes, seriously. We take a lot of things seriously, but
I think generally people don't, all the things you said about kids, like, I don't think people think that they have that much power or effect on them, or that like them figuring out how to not deal with criticism. It's like, if they're not good at that, I don't think they think like, oh, this is going to affect my kids. They're going to go like, well, no, that's my own problem, and I'm going to like, whatever. That's not going to affect my kids though. I don't think people feel that way most of the time, to where I think we feel like we see it very obviously being around kids a lot.
Well, yeah.
That, I don't know, it's like it grows to we see the importance, just like how we take health and just health very seriously too. And we see that and go like, well, you wonder why you're anxious, depressed, ADHD, all this shit going on. It's like, well, you're not active. You're not healthy. It's like, that's our first thing we go to most of the time.
Sure.
It's like, to us, these answers are so obvious, and to others, I don't think they think it affects them that way. Like, I don't think I would say probably most people don't think that the health of their body has anything to do with their mind.
And then that being in charge of the rest of your life.
Yeah. And I don't know. I guess that's part of why maybe we do the podcast. Part of why we like to talk about it is just like, we feel like there's a very strong connection between that. And that we feel like there's very strong connections between a lot of these things, that it's like, hey, we want to tell you, like, look at this, because you not being healthy is probably affecting your brain, or you not being able to deal with criticism is probably affecting your kids in the way that they act. It's like you're sick of your kids doing these certain things. It's like it probably has something to do with you, not just with them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think people do go, oh, it's the kid. They have their own problems and we need to solve those. It's like, no, it's you that has the problems and they're reacting from it.
Yep. Yeah. And I don't know if that's just, I would, whether it's fortunate or unfortunate, I've always kind of thought that way. And I'm sure there's been plenty of times where it has not been helpful at all. But I feel more fortunate or lucky that the jobs that we have had or the situations that we have been with, where we have lived, blah, 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 whatever, we have been able to gather so much data of working with so many people on either the more middle-aged to adult range or the kids, and such large age groups on both of those ends to gather the data of like, oh, everybody is dealing with the same thing, but they're going to differ. They're going to not efficient solutions. Like, why are we all going to the same things, but those things are incorrect?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, because there's so much more information about feeding that narrative or giving the information. And it's not so much like people are being stupid. It's not that. That is what is being told.
Yeah, it's the culture of trying to just make you feel better rather than being honest with you.
Yeah. It's the blame game, I think. It's never not you.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Which is just your ego coming up.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's really something I want to focus on more for myself. Like, new challenge.
Yeah.
Well, I noticed for me a lot lately of like, oh, that's an old pattern coming up and it is not helping you. And it probably has never helped you.
Yeah.
Time to switch it.
Yeah. We all have our own things and yeah, for sure. Same for me. It's like, okay, let's try to catch those things and not have them be just like the fallback in a way.
Yeah.
Fallback response. It's like, let's find a way to not act that way and make those decisions. And most of the time I think it stems from just like trying to make yourself feel better. So it's like, it doesn't really work.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just having a conversation with somebody kind of about that, of like choosing friends or how I am like friends with people now or whatever. Like, I really do try to, I think I try to make an effort of surrounding myself with more people that do question me a lot. I have some just like fun people and that just like bring good times. But I think my close-knit people kind of go like, why do you do that? Or like, why are you like that? Why do you think that way? Why was that your response? Or whatever. Like, you very much so do that with me. And I think my closer crew of people, but there's like those people I respect so much because like you care about me enough to want me to be the best version of me, not just like, that's just who she is.
Yeah. Well, and that's hard to judge though too, because some people are just judgmental. Yeah. And a little bit rude.
I guess you have to know, you can feel like who has a good heart.
Yeah, you got to know it's coming from a decent place, or they actually care about you and what's going on, and not just like they just happen to be like opinionated or more vocal than other people.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I like that you're challenging me, but also like you're just kind of rude.
Well, sure. Yeah. Yeah.
We're like at hour 15. Should probably wrap it up.
Okay. Bye.
See you later.
I didn't know.